Good evening. I am Susan Bunting, Delaware's Secretary of Education. It is annually a special honor for me to be a part of this incredible evening. While we can't be together this year as a large group due to COVID-19, I'm pleased that we can share this night with a larger audience through our virtual celebration. On behalf of the Delaware Department of Education, I welcome you to the Delaware Teacher of the Year celebration, a night when we recognize educators' life-changing contributions to the First State's young people. Soon we will introduce you to our 20 nominees. The candidates were nominated by their districts or the charter network during the 2020 calendar year because of their superior ability to inspire students with a love of learning, exemplary demonstration of professional traits, and strong sense of dedication and devotion to teaching. One of them will be named our 2021 Delaware Teacher of the Year and will represent our state in the National Teacher of the Year program, a project of the Council of Chief State School Officers in partnership with Voya Foundation. We are grateful for the financial support of tonight's celebration from Voya Financial. Voya's generous support of Delaware's program has allowed us to sponsor 20 small watch parties across the state where 2021 District and Charter Teachers of the Year are celebrating tonight with their immediate families and a small group of colleagues. They are connected with one another by way of a video call and are following COVID-19 protocols at their local parties. Voya's support also has allowed us to partner with DETV to share tonight's celebration with all of you online and on TV. We have several other organizations and individuals who have shared gifts with our teachers, whom I will recognize later this evening. But first, we have several guests who also wanted to share the congratulations with our teachers.
Hi, my name is Whitney Sweeney and I'm the president of the Delaware State Board of Education. I'm very privileged to be here tonight celebrating public education in our state and the outstanding teachers that we have here. 2020 has been an unprecedented year, beginning with schools shutting down because of COVID-19 in the spring, civil unrest and protests throughout the country, and of course here we are now in the fall trying to figure out how we can safely have our teachers and our students back in the classroom for that so important direct interaction. This is a year that we truly recognize the value of a teacher and that impact that you have on your kids every day. You are the reason that kids want to be in school, that you instill a love of learning into those kids, and you are building a foundation for the next generation of our leaders, and it couldn't be more important. I also want to recognize the value of community and the value of our businesses that continue and have supported public education in our state. This is, again, another year where that commitment to public education from those entities, businesses, communities, is so vital to ensuring that we continue to have strong education and a strong support system for our students. Now, it's not just our teachers, our administrators. There's an enormous amount of work that's gone into making sure that this year gets off to the right foot and that we continue to educate our kids. But tonight is about our teachers and the outstanding teachers that we have here. Now, I know that we can only recognize one of you as Teacher of the Year, but I think it's very important that we congratulate all of you for making it this far and for representing the best teachers in our classrooms. So to all of you, I say congratulations for making it this far, and then good luck. And to our next Teacher of the Year, congratulations, and I very much look forward to an opportunity to meet you and to hopefully see you in a classroom not too far from now. Thank you and have a good night.
So I'm Laura Sturgeon. I'm the Senate Education Chair and, more importantly, a recently retired Delaware school teacher. I want to congratulate you for the honor of being recognized as one of Delaware's best and brightest teachers. Now more than ever, we are asking more and more of our teachers. In the midst of this global pandemic, you have had to pivot the way you deliver instruction, the way you meet the social emotional needs of our kids, and you have done so. I'm urging you today to take the celebrations and the honors that you receive and use them to go back to your schools and your districts to uplift your colleagues, because I know that they are having a rough time figuring out how to best meet the needs of kids when we're teaching remotely or in a hybrid fashion. Everything is new, but you are the teachers who have been recognized as the ones who can meet today's challenge, who will meet the challenge, and who are serving as role models for all the other teachers who are faced with these novel circumstances. So I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do for our students every day, because even under normal circumstances, teaching is a difficult, challenging job and such an important one. But right now, it's become ever more challenging, and we appreciate you being on the front lines, being there for our students, and this is your day. Enjoy it, and then take this spirit of celebration back to uplift all of your colleagues. We wish you a great school year. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of your event this evening. The thanks that we as Delawareans owe to our teachers this year is even greater than ever before. In addition to the job of teaching, guiding, and molding our next generation, you had to become logistics experts, IT professionals, and so much more. It's clear that when students and their families look back on this past school year, they will remember who paved the way for them. And here you are, the best of the best in Delaware. When people do extraordinary things, we like to pay them back for their efforts. And though I'm the state treasurer, I am not in a position to increase your pay. And though I wish I could, I can't even sell you the winning lottery ticket. But at the same time, I will not set or collect your taxes, and I certainly will not audit you. What I will do is say thank you. On behalf of myself, the mother of school-aged children, and on behalf of everyone in our state, your impact reaches further than you know. Let me tell you a story about a young gentleman I met just a few months ago. He was learning remotely and helping out in his small family business. As the firstborn of an immigrant family, he told me that his parents had been telling him he was going to college since before he can remember. And he disagreed. He told them he wasn't smart enough, he wasn't going to be going to college, and it wasn't until this year that his 5th grade teacher convinced him otherwise. She told him that he was smart enough, that he was good enough, and that he should be investing in himself. Just as that little boy invested in himself by changing his outlook, Delaware offers you a way to invest in yourself. Think of it as another way Delaware says thank you. Defer is the voluntary retirement program available to most Delaware state employees. Participation helps provide for a balanced plan for retirement alongside Social Security, pension, and personal savings. It has saved teachers millions of dollars annually in fees while providing a world-class retirement savings platform. Signing up is simple. You can go to our website, treasurer.delaware.gov, and scroll down to find the retirement savings plan. Remember, steps you take today pave your road for the rest of your lives. Again, congratulations on your honor, and don't forget to plan for your own future as you plan for the future of others.
On behalf of Voya Financial, I am honored to greet you all this evening and thrilled to continue our support of the Delaware Teacher of the Year Award ceremony. And congratulations to all district and charter school teachers of the year. Despite the extraordinary challenges we have all been faced with, I want to thank you and all of the educators watching tonight's award ceremony for finding new and creative ways to reach students by helping them to stay engaged and learning. If ever we are reminded of the impact of the work you do, it is now. From adapting to virtual learning methods, to nurturing your students and their mental and emotional states as you help them deal with a stressful time caused by quarantines and the current state of national unrest sparked by racial and societal injustices. I'm sure many of you are forced to lead difficult conversations with your students every day, and I know some of your colleagues have made it their mission to fight for equity for all students. It's reassuring to know that Delaware educators are leaders of change and have been preparing students for the types of challenges we face today. Just look at some of the recent Delaware State Teachers of the Year. Wendy Turner in 2017 is committed to teaching empathy in her second grade class and reinforcing the concept of, we got this, we're in it together. Dana Bowe in 2019 and Rebecca Vitelli in 2020 are both dedicated to teaching students with special needs. They help their students feel connected, which sparks their ability to learn. They also want to make sure that no matter what the native language, socioeconomic background, or disability may be, their students deserve an education that is appropriate for their needs. And educators like Ginny Percucci, the 2018 Delaware Teacher of the Year, has made it her mission to drive racial equity in education. In fact, Ginny's mission inspired us to invite her into our New York City office last year to speak on this topic. She provided our employees and leaders with perspective on how preparing children with concepts like equity and inclusion prepare them for the workforce. That perspective has been essential during this climate, and even to us at Voya Financial as we work towards some of our business goals. Ginny, Wendy, Dana, and Rebecca are just a few examples of many educators like you provide value beyond the classroom. Your efforts prove that even though the toughest of times, you, our unsung heroes and essential workers, are here for those most in need, your students, who I'm sure are confused, anxious, or even frightened. But it is your encouragement that helps to yield that confusion, your passion that helps to calm those anxieties, and your thoughtfulness that helps to ease those fears. We at Voya Financial have a long-standing relationship with the state of Delaware and the Department of Education, 13 years to be exact. And while we are proud to help educators and all state employees plan and save for a financially secure future through the Delaware Retirement Savings Program, we are even more proud to stand behind each and every one of you as you make a difference in the lives of your students. Through our signature program, Voya Teacher Voices, we believe that education is key to healthy communities, which in turn foster the sustainability and growth of the economy. I thank you not only as a Voya employee, but also as a parent. My youngest son started college a few weeks ago during one of the toughest times in our history. But by working so closely with educators and truly understanding the magnitude of what you all go through to ensure your students are safe, motivated, and well, I know he will be just fine. Thank you again for all that you do.
Hi, I'm U.S. Senator Chris Coons. Congratulations to all the finalists for Delaware Teacher of the Year. All 20 of you are joined together tonight because of your passion, your success, your profound commitment to teaching. And one of you will be honored and recognized as Teacher of the Year for Delaware. But frankly, all of you have made a lifelong difference for your students. This year, I've been fortunate to visit schools up and down our state, such as H.B. DuPont Middle School, Shoe-Medill, and Frederick Douglass Elementary. Spending time with teachers and staff and students is motivating, gives me insight on how to better support you in our schools through my work with federal funding and legislation. This year's been especially challenging with the difficulties and the constraints associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our teachers have been asked to perform a difficult balancing act, providing meaningful education and engagement while being safe and sanitary. So I am deeply grateful to all of you, and I look forward to celebrating your contributions and your accomplishments. Thank you, and congratulations to all of you.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Carpenter, United States Senator from Delaware, and my mother was a music teacher. My wife taught at the University of Delaware after a great career at DuPont. My sister is, for many, many years, a pre-K teacher, and so I've been surrounded by wonderful teachers throughout my life. We are grateful to you, all of you. You represent the very best in your profession. And Rebecca prepares to step down as her year as our Delaware Teacher of the Year. Whoever might succeed her, you've got a tough act to follow, but I'm sure you'll be up to it. To everybody out there, we're going through a tough time in the pandemic, and I just want to, and maybe some of the toughest work is being done by you. I would just say, please keep it up. You're doing the Lord's work. All the kids are grateful for it. Their parents are. God knows I am. Thank you. Bravo Zulu. That means great work. Great job. Take care.
Hi, Lieutenant Governor Bethany Hall Long. We are certainly in a different space than we have been in years past when I've been able to come and celebrate each and every one of you incredible teachers. What a phenomenal slate of honorees this year you give each and every day to our families, and particularly during this year with our pandemic. We know that the frontline teachers and all the essential workers in schools have given their best and have really adapted to very unique times with online learning and different strategies. And you all, prior to the pandemic, role modeled the best in Delaware and in our classrooms. As a teacher myself and a graduate of a public education system, I truly value the work that you do. I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you and to the honorees this evening. May you continue during these times and into the future, be the shining role models and the stars that you are. Congratulations and the best.
Good evening, everyone. This is Governor John Carney. The Teacher of the Year celebration is one of my favorite events of a normal year. This year's event, however, looks very different than in typical years, but that makes this recognition no less special. This year, in fact, more than any other, our state recognizes the importance of outstanding teachers. You have adapted in unprecedented ways this year to meet the needs of your students. You've worked through virtual learning settings or in face-to-face settings with new precautions in place. And you're continuing to adapt tonight as our Teacher of the Year celebration goes virtual. This evening, we are celebrating 20 of our state's best educators. Each of you has been recognized as your district or the Delaware Charter Network Teacher of the Year. I've enjoyed reading about each of you, and I look forward to the chance to meet you in person when circumstances allow. Even more so, I look forward to hearing from you throughout the coming year. Each year, I enjoy the special opportunity to host the Teachers of the Year in my office at Legislative Hall, as well as for lunch at Woodburn. I also try to visit your classrooms as much as I can. For me, these visits are special because I get the chance to hear directly from some of our educators about what is working in our schools and how we can do better. While these in-person opportunities may be delayed due to COVID-19, they remain a priority for me, and I look forward to connecting with you as soon as possible. I've heard from past Teachers of the Year about the need for more support for certain students, particularly those living in poverty and our English learners. I've also heard the need to address the trauma experienced by many of our students. That's why opportunity funding has been my top education priority. Now, for the first time, we're providing weighted student funding for low-income and English learner students in schools across Delaware. We know that educators who work closest with our children often have the best advice on what our students need and how to meet those needs. I'm so grateful for the incredible work you do each and every day in your schools and for sharing your insights with me as your governor. I don't know who will be given the title of State Teacher of the Year tonight, but I know that each and every one of you deserves the honor. And I know that the real winners are our children who benefit from your good work every day. Thank you very much for what you do.
Before we meet our 20 State Teacher of the Year nominees, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible support each of these educators and every other teacher in our state has surrounding them that helps our students succeed. Educational support professionals provide vital services for our students and teachers. They are the paraprofessionals who often work with our students one-on-one or in small groups to provide the individualized instructional support some students need. They are the bus drivers and the aides who safely transport our children to and from school each day. They are the custodial staff and the office personnel who keep our schools running smoothly each day. They are the nutrition workers who make sure that our children have the healthy meals they need to concentrate on learning. These are just a few examples of the crucial roles educational support personnel play in our schools. Next month, the Delaware Department of Education will name the first state winner in the Delaware Educational Support Professional of the Year program to recognize the best of these professionals working in our schools. Now the part of the program I know you are anticipating, the chance to meet our 20 outstanding nominees. Each of the candidates represents the very best qualities of the profession of teaching. Each has the respect and admiration of students, colleagues, faculty members, teachers, parents, administrators, and members of our community. The outstanding presentation that you will now view showcases Delaware's best. I want to share a special thanks to James Purnell of the Delaware Department of Transportation for his work in shooting and producing this video. It was a challenge this year. In a typical year, James would visit each teacher's classroom to get photos and videos of the teacher in action. Due to COVID-19, that wasn't possible this year. But thanks to James' work, we still were able to create this video to showcase the incredible work of these educators.
Good evening and welcome to the 57th Annual Delaware Teacher of the Year ceremony. Thank you Voya Financial for the generous support that has made this evening possible. While COVID restrictions prevent us from gathering as a large group this year, each of our districts and the Delaware Charter Network are joining us from a small, socially distanced watch parties across the state as we celebrate 20 outstanding educators who represent the passionate and talented teachers working in Delaware Public Schools. Each of these 20 teachers was nominated by his or her school district or the Delaware Charter School Network. One will be named the 2021 Teacher of the Year and serve as the first state's nominee for the 2021 National Teacher of the Year program. But first, let's meet our 20 nominees. From the Appoquinimink School District, Brick Mill Elementary Spanish teacher Karen Special. The parent of two former students said, "When my daughter was in 5th grade at Brick Mill Elementary School, we traveled to Mexico. With the skills she learned strictly through her experiences in Miss Special's Spanish class, my daughter was able to describe a backpack she wanted in a shop, negotiate with the merchant, and purchase the backpack. They were very impressed, and so was I. I will forever be grateful for the love of foreign language Miss Special has provided both my children."
So I became a teacher because, honestly, I love language, and I love meeting people. And when I went to college and I studied abroad, I discovered that I could turn that into a job. It was shocking. And to be honest, I just think that the opportunities that I've gained from knowing a second language and engaging in another culture are priceless. And I wanted to share that love and appreciation with others. Our world is so vast. And growing up, I really didn't know that. It wasn't until I got much older that I was able to discover it. And I just think that when I look at my own children and what they've been able to enjoy just by being exposed to a different culture and learning about the diversity that surrounds us, it's just enriching. So that's why I became a teacher.
From the Brandywine School District, Brandywine High School physics and engineering teacher, Judson Wagner. A former student said, not only does Dr. Wagner wish to see his students succeed in his physics and engineering courses, but he also encourages students like myself to make a difference in the engineering industry. Women in engineering had not been discussed very frequently in our school until Dr. Wagner came along. Dr. Wagner led a group of female students to Brandywine's first ever Team STEM competition, where our girls' team took home second place in the state. This and many other women in STEM opportunities could not have been achieved if it were not for Dr. Wagner's patience, encouragement, and mentorship.
I still love teaching physics because it ignites within students that spark of wonder about how the universe actually operates. And then it empowers them to flex their math and science skills to make accurate predictions of future events. I also love teaching engineering because it provides students with 21st century skills. It gives them the habits of mind that make them better problem solvers. And best of all, it gives them experience working on real-world solutions that center on empathetic dialogue with their end users. While I am a committed advocate for equitable STEM education for all students, I like to believe that everyone who works with children can agree that long-term happiness is the end goal. It's been a privilege to commit my passions and my skills to the teaching profession and to contribute to the happiness of students. This work has certainly made me happy.
From the Caesar Rodney School District, Nellie Stokes Elementary first grade teacher, Beth Schmidt. One colleague also had a son in Schmidt's class when she taught in the district's early intervention program. She said his first exposure to school setting was beyond what any parent would hope for. Miss Schmidt took the time to get to know my son personally and celebrated his strengths, while ever so patiently supporting his areas of weakness. Miss Schmidt helped set the tone for my son's educational career so that when he entered kindergarten the following school year, he was fully prepared not only academically, but socially and emotionally as well.
One of my most memorable moments of teaching, and one that I feel defines who I am as a teacher, happened several years ago with a little boy who didn't speak any English. He was in fact my greatest challenge, and yet my greatest celebration. This student taught me the importance of meeting social needs first and curriculum second. After months of trying to reach this child through high fives and hugs that were constantly dismissed, we reached a turning point on the floor one day in the hallway. While the child was crying uncontrollably, he gestured to me his feet were hurting. It was this day that I realized his shoes were too small. With the help of his high school brother being able to translate to the father, asking if I could bring him in a pair of my son's old shoes the next day, a plan had been made. The following day, I gave the little boy the shoes, helped him put them on, and discovered the shoes that he had been wearing were 3 sizes too small. This day, however, was not just about shoes. For the student, it was about comfort, not only in his feet, but in knowing I care about him as a person. It was in that moment he began to trust me. For me, as an educator, it became so evident that our role is not to only teach to the standards and the curriculum, but to meet the needs of the whole child, and only then can we really expect them to learn. Hopefully today, when he thinks about me, he thinks about more than just shoes. Hopefully, he remembers the way that I made him feel, loved, respected, and important. This was a pivotal point in my career, and I feel helped mold me into the teacher that I am today.
From the Cape Henlopen School District, Milton Elementary first grade Spanish immersion teacher, Jorge Moreno Halen. Sussex County's immersion coach praised Moreno's talents in the classroom. He is able to maintain student interest, hold high expectations, support areas of need, and exuberate joy during teaching. He is kind, respectful, and patient while also continuing to be a learner and open to self-reflection. These traits are a winning combination for an impactful teacher. This is why, on several occasions, I have asked Mr. Moreno to host new immersion teachers in his classroom to observe and model their teaching after his.
For me, remote learning had a very different meaning. I started teaching in Anton Valley, Panama in 2006, a commute that included 8 buses daily. I was received there by the students with a big smile and every day they would come to me with their daily harvest. They would come to me with tomatoes or cucumbers, and that was a way for them to show their appreciation for my contribution to their lives. That's remote learning for me.
From the Capital School District, Booker T. Washington Elementary 4th grade teacher, Julie Eby. Miss Eby goes above and beyond to help the whole child. She is simply not a bell-to-bell teacher, Capital Interim Superintendent Sylvia Henderson said. Miss Eby has strong relationships with parents. During the pandemic shutdown, Miss Eby realized one of her students was having connectivity issues. Miss Eby went to the home of the student and sat in the garage with her cell phone as a hotspot so the student could complete the assigned work. One of the most important traits of Miss Eby is her ability to connect with students and families.
I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. I never knew what kind of a teacher I wanted to be. But that question was answered for me when I entered Mr. Whaley's 6th grade classroom. He showed me the difference a good teacher could make in the life of a child. Mr. Whaley was different. He greeted us daily, made learning fun, and intensely cared for us. He developed authentic relationships with us by attending our extracurricular activities, getting to know our parents, and talking with us and really listening. Mr. Whaley had solidified the why for me. I knew I wanted to help children feel the same way that he had made me feel. I believe my greatest contribution and accomplishment in education is serving as a positive teacher role model who desires to constantly learn and perseveres through obstacles while maintaining a positive attitude. I became consumed with learning how to be an effective teacher. Knowledge of content, instructional planning and strategies, special needs students, classroom organization and management. These are skills that can be taught. However, I have learned through my experience that these skills are rarely effective without a positive and caring attitude, respect for students, enthusiasm, and dedication. Each day I marry these behaviors with the skills I have learned to be the most effective teacher I can be.
From the Charter School Network, Odyssey Charter High School social studies teacher, Melissa Tracy. One student described how Tracy helped her while on a class trip as an example of how she supports her students in and out of class. As a practicing Muslim, I pray 5 times a day. When I told Miss Tracy about my religious obligations, she immediately took it upon herself to find places for me to peacefully pray at the Delaware State House. While I prayed inside the rooms, she guarded the door to make sure no one disturbed me. Throughout my entire school experience, Miss Tracy has been the only teacher that made me feel safe practicing my religion in public and made adjustments to accommodate my religious obligations.
When I went to Tulane in New Orleans, the first year I was there, we didn't actually have a certification program. It wasn't until my second year that they decided to bring it back. And so I was able to complete the program. It was an alternative certification program. But I was incredibly fortunate in that our director from day one immersed us in the community of New Orleans. And so all of my early teaching was in very disadvantaged communities. And it helped me in these moments recognize that as educators, we do so much more than teaching, and that we had this tremendous capacity to enact good. And that was crystallized for me when Katrina hit. So a lot of my teaching was pre-Katrina. And then I completed some of my last practicums several months after Katrina hit New Orleans. And I was teaching in classrooms with 50 kids, kids who had experienced tremendous trauma, kids who were homeless. I too had actually lost my home. It took on about 8 feet of water. But even despite everything that happened in the city, there were children that needed to be taught. And most importantly, they just needed adults to be present and to advocate for them. After teaching in New Orleans, I completed my student teaching at a British school in India. So I kind of went from one extreme to another, but I was so fortunate to have that opportunity abroad because it helped to confirm for me the importance of global citizenship. And then after I taught in India, I landed a job in Delaware, and I've been there ever since. Now going on my 14th year of teaching.
From the Christina School District, Christina High School and Middle School Honor Academy instrumental music teacher Jeffrey Domchick. Colleagues recognized Domchek for his work with all students. Said one, his ability to reach all students at Christina is something that few professionals are able to accomplish so easily. Never one to deny any student a chance, he has opened up his ensembles to students from the Delaware Autism Program and the Delaware School for the Deaf. For many educators, teaching a student who is legally deaf to play steel drums would be an enormous undertaking. However, for an educator like Jeff, he welcomes any student, regardless of ability or disability, into his ensemble so they may experience the same music education as their peers. He has discovered a unique ability to find promising students in his novice music classes, work intensively with them, and then have them become leaders in his premier ensembles by the time they are seniors.
I think one of the things I've done really well during my career is making connections with students. In all what we do as teachers, that is a very huge part of education. In music education particularly, we spend a lot of time with our students, especially at the high school level, where at times I won't see them for 2-3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, and then we come back and we start up again in July with marching band. Making those connections is huge. At Christina High School, we have 30 countries and 11 languages represented in our building. And if students do not feel comfortable in a class, they will shut down. One of my students said that they feel like our band room is a home. We usually have band at the end of the day, and God knows what happens to these students between the time they get on the bus and the time they come back to me by the end of the day. But it feels like a home to them. They said they can cry there, they can laugh there, they can share secrets there, they open up to each other there. It really is a family. And I'm proud that I think I've created an environment that allows that. I want to leave you with 3 quotes from my family. One is my dad said when I told him I wanted to become a music major, he said, "I don't care what you do as long as you make a living doing it." My wife has said that I have not worked a day in my life, meaning that I work really hard every day, but it's a joy coming to work every day, and there's nothing else I would rather do. But my son would go to his teachers in elementary school and said, "Oh, my daddy's a teacher. He saves kids." And I've thought about that statement for years because he said it to more than one teacher, and all the way up to middle school. And his band director reached out to me and said, "Your son says that you save kids." And looking back, I think I've helped my students find a voice, not necessarily musically, but in whatever they want to do, finding a passion. And if that voice and I was able to help with that passion, and if along the way I helped them, I helped save them, then I think I did a pretty good job as a teacher, and hopefully I'm remembered for that.
From the Colonial School District, McCullum Middle School Health and Physical Education teacher, Kyrie Bay. Colleagues marvel at Bay's dedication and accomplishments. Said one, "It is asked, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk?" I'm here to tell you, Kyrie can do both and then some. In fact, I sometimes wonder how the man can accomplish all he does, all while being a dedicated father, loving husband, and maintaining hundreds of relationships with students, staff, friends, family. The list goes on. The truth is, Kyrie Bay has never forgotten his roots. The many events he volunteers for, the dozens of phone discussions he has a week with intensive minds, and the words he speaks to thousands of willing listeners in his fight for equality and education all come from a place of genuine care and concern for his community. I have never met a more empathetic, honest, and passionate man in the world of education than Mr. Kyrie Bay.
My wife, Allison Bay, she's been teaching for about 24 years in a small town where I grew up in South Jersey. A lot of poverty, a lot of gun violence. She's actually lost about 7 former students since the pandemic kicked off because not a lot of resources in these towns. It's a red line community, food desert, not a lot of hope. And she's been there doing her best all those years. She was the first person to invite me into her classroom, and I used to go in during Black History Month and teach the kids about history that I know they weren't getting. And one of their social studies teachers said to them that I did not know what I was talking about, and that right there kind of made me mad. And I talked to my wife. She's like, "You do so much in the community, at youth centers. You're the biggest kid around here, and you should probably go back into education." You know, and even when I was in the Marine Corps in the early 90s in Desert Storm and all, I spent a lot of time trying to uplift kids in the community. And a lot of my friends, we did work doing that. And I see a lot of my kids just like me. They are, they've been written off. They're the other, or those kids. And that's why I went into education, because I wanted to give those kids a voice. I wanted to interact with them and give them that positive serve in return, which I know a lot of kids in these red line communities and these underserved communities don't get.
From the Delmar School District, Delmar Middle School English learner teacher Kate Hakeem. Other educators credit Hakeem for helping them better support their students. In addition to providing support for English learner students, Kate has been a tremendous resource to staff as well. During her first year at Delmar, she developed a grading policy for EL students based on their proficiency levels. This provides teachers with expectations for student performance and guidance for how to accommodate them.
I think one of the things that really inspires me as a teacher is having small interactions with my students every single day. One with Valerie, who needed help with her locker, and basically every morning for several months would just come up to me and ask me to open it for her, even after I've showed her, and she was able to even do it by herself. She just still wanted that extra. I almost feel like it was that extra moment of just time together in the morning where we were helping each other. And she always was ready for class and had everything that she needed. I think another thing that I love about my job is really being able to develop strong relationships with students that last for multiple years. I just love being able to see them grow and mature over several years. Seeing them graduate is also really special. But just seeing those moments where students really have grown and have matured into adults is just really special and something that keeps me coming back every single day.
From the Indian River School District, Sussex Central High agricultural structures and engineering teacher Brandon McCabe. One parent said McCabe supported her son, Lynn, during difficult years. Mr. McCabe played a vital part not only in Lynn's education, but as a mentor. Lynn contemplated quitting school on several occasions. Lynn became a father during his senior year, which is very difficult at a young age to cope with. Mr. McCabe continuously supported him, gave him advice, and strength to continue his high school education. As a mother, I am forever grateful that Mr. McCabe did not give up on my son or look down on him due to his life-changing situation. Without Mr. McCabe instilling in Lynn how important his education was and that he was going to be successful no matter what life gave him, I'm not sure what Lynn's outcome would have been.
Got out of college coaching after a couple years and started doing youth travel ball coaching. And the same type of deal. You got the kids that are 10, 12, 14 years old that are really, their dreams are obviously pro ball or college baseball or whatever, but we're working towards those dreams of whatever they were, and it was really fun to help them work and see how hard they work to achieve these goals. And I was doing that while I was also farming at home with my dad, and I was doing some substitute teaching just to supplement, just a little bit of extra cash, and found out there was an ag teacher job. Applied for it a couple times, finally got it, and I really, really enjoy helping those students, especially the ones that may not have that push from home or that direction from the home, helping them find something to do as a goal, as a dream, as a career, where maybe in years before they were, you need to go to college, you need to go do this. Well, they would go to college and realize it wasn't for them, and then they're kind of years behind of where they would be. So I really get excited, and I really enjoy watching that light bulb go off on some students where they realize, hey, I really enjoy construction. I can get a career at the Carpenters Union or work towards building my own construction company. I really enjoy HVAC or electric, and I can really have a good career, make good money being an HVAC technician or an electrician. And then once that light bulb goes off, then helping them obtain that career and get there. So that's really what gets me going and really what I get excited for with teaching now. And now my favorite moments are after they graduate, seeing them after the moment, and successful in that career that we have worked so hard for them to achieve, to obtain, and see them being successful and being able to go those next steps in life and really be proud of themselves. And that's what I really enjoy with teaching career and technical education.
From the Lake Forest School District, North Elementary kindergarten teacher Amber Hobbs. One parent said her son's transition to kindergarten was challenging, but Hobbs helped him through it. My son has always had a hard time spending time away from me, and there were many days that my son had meltdowns before school. I can attest that leaving your 5-year-old son in the middle of one of these episodes is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. However, Miss Hobbs always knew how to calm him down and provided me with updates, so I knew he was fine. She not only helped my son feel comfortable and safe as soon as he walked in her room, but her excellent communication put me at ease as I struggled to contain my emotions on those difficult days. She treated every child as if they were her own, which put me at ease. My son quickly came out of his shell and blossomed in her class. I was impressed with how well he was reading, writing, and doing math within weeks of starting kindergarten. Additionally, what cemented her dedication to her students in my mind was all the ways she went above and beyond throughout the year. She even attended my son's birthday party when none of his classmates were able to come, and he thought it was the coolest.
I think that teachers have lots of memorable moments throughout the year, and that they save those moments as a playback in their memory to use throughout the year when they need inspiration, motivation, or just a reminder of why they started teaching. Some of my fondest memories happen when my students are engaged in play-based lessons or activities. And each year, the one that sticks out the most for me is when we make gingerbread houses after our unit on comparing and contrasting many different gingerbread men's stories. Each year when I do this activity, I invite parents and community members to come in the classroom to help us build gingerbread houses. So as they're building the gingerbread houses, they have it on their hands, they're licking their hands, they're touching things. And you can just start to see some of the parents who are a little bit more OCD than a kindergarten teacher who's used to being with 5-year-olds get a little bit grossed out. And by the end of the activity of making the gingerbread house, they come up and they're like, thank you for doing this in the classroom. Now I don't have to work on that at home. That was a little bit interesting to watch, but the kids really enjoyed it. And one memory that sticks out for me the most is one year when we were making gingerbread houses and parents were coming in. A little girl at recess fell off the monkey bars and she hurt her arm. And her mom was already coming in to volunteer to make the gingerbread houses. When her mom got there, the nurse was like, I'm pretty sure it's broken. I think you're going to have to take her to get it checked out at the doctor. The little girl was having no parts of leaving school. She threw a massive fit. The mom came down and was like, what can we do? She won't leave. She really wants to make these gingerbread houses. So I went back in the classroom and I got a bag and I put the milk jugs, the icing, the candy, the popsicle sticks, everything she needed to make it in a bag. And I went down to the nurse's office and I talked to her. And I had previously taught her sister, so I had put 2 items in there and I said, you have to go to the doctor. Your arm has to be fixed first. It's the most important thing. And here is your bag for after you get back from the doctor, where you can make gingerbread houses at home with your sister. You can videotape it or send me a picture. You still get to make them, but you have to take care of yourself first. That memory is from 10 years ago, so she's in 10th grade now. But every year I replay that when I'm planning my lesson. And I remember just how vital these activities are to the students, because for my family, making gingerbread houses is a family tradition. But for some kids, it might be the only time they ever do it. And I realized that not only am I making memories, but they're making memories. And if they're making memories and having fun in school, I'm building those lifelong learners and fostering a love of school. And that's my goal for every child, is to make them love school and want to come every day.
From the Laurel School District, North Laurel Early Learning Academy pre-kindergarten teacher Lindsay Parsons. An area where Lindsay's skills are unmatched is with our children who have behavioral challenges, said a speech language pathologist colleague. I have watched students enter her classroom at the beginning of the school year disruptive, spitting, biting, and hitting. Lindsay intensely analyzes their behaviors, collaborates with other team members, develops a plan, finds motivators, and continues this process until there is an effective working plan in place to decrease targeted challenging behaviors. The positive transformations that I have witnessed with these behavioral challenge students has been unbelievable. Consequently, through her interventions, she has dramatically improved the opportunities for learning for these students.
I just love going to my school and being with my class every day. I really look forward to it. And it's really because I teach preschool students, and never is there a day that's just ordinary. There's something special that happens in every day, and it may not look like much, but there's always a child who is growing and learning something new, even if it's just learning how to tie their shoes or wash their hands. I teach both students with and without special needs, so even the smallest thing can be the most monumental in our classroom. And I just love working with my paraprofessional alongside me to reach each and every individual student. And we
try to make the day as exciting and engaging as we possibly can, because the little ones are not always easy to entertain. We do service a low-income population, and so they don't always get the same experiences that other children might, or that you think they would. So at the end of every year, we take a trip to the beach, and for some of them, it's their first trip that they've ever taken to the beach, and we do the same thing with the bowling alley, and we just try to make it as fun as possible and great experiences for them each year.
From the Milford School District, Lulu Ross Elementary 4th grade teacher Kimberly Webb. One colleague said Webb's ability to differentiate for all the students in her classroom is unmatched. Watching Kimberly teach is like viewing a skilled dance. As a fellow educator, I am aware of how challenging it can be to engage all students within the classroom, especially those with diverse needs and backgrounds. Kimberly does so effortlessly. She spends time throughout the entire year to learn about her students' interests, challenges, and needs. She is sure to incorporate their personal interests and backgrounds into lessons. Additionally, she strives to eliminate the barriers students may experience in accessing the content and standards, and she creates a safe space where all students feel comfortable and supported in classroom participation.
I have always wanted to become a teacher. I am reminded of several events that had an important impact on my decision. Into our family came a child with special needs. Her name is Michelle, my cousin, an individual with Down syndrome. Her life expectancy was forecasted to be short. It was noted that accomplishments may be few and expectations should be kept reasonable. Today, Michelle is still with us and is a remarkable young lady. I am also constantly reminded of a teacher and coach I had the privilege of crossing paths with. Her name is Stephanie, and she is a special education teacher. I spent a great deal of time with her. It was her high energy, enthusiasm, creativity, and sincere love for each student that made a lasting impression. Her dedication never wavered day after day, regardless of any obstacles or great challenges that stood before her. I decided then to become a Stephanie, to offer a kind and caring heart to all the Michelles of the world, regardless of their individual circumstances. And that's what I've devoted my life to.
From the Newcastle County Vocational Technical School District, Howard High School of Technology mathematics teacher Anthony Reed. Mr. Reed is one of the school's most adored teachers, one student said. He has the energy to make someone actually have the motivation to complete math work. I can't lie, I wasn't really a big math fan, but by having him as a teacher, it changed my whole perspective of math. His ability to teach and stay connected with students is just beautiful, the student said, later adding. His ability to teach and stay connected with his students is just beautiful, the student said, later adding. He is the epitome of what every teacher should be: compassionate, patient, considerate, admirable, and diligent. Having him as a teacher was life-changing.
One of the reasons that I wanted to become a teacher was just I knew that education was something that was priceless and that I had a role that I can play in that for students. I just remember going to high school, math was always one of my favorite subjects, but I actually surprisingly went to school for culinary arts. So going to high school, I had no idea that I wanted to be a math teacher. And it was when it came time to apply to college that I just felt this calling that I was meant to be a teacher, to make an impact in education. And it was a teacher at my high school who really saw that potential in me and told me that, hey, you're actually great at mathematics. And I wanted to be that teacher for other students. I wanted to be a teacher who could show students maybe a future they had never imagined for themselves. So deciding to become a teacher was that next logical step, and it's never been something I've regretted since that first day I made that choice. I'm only 4 years in, and I know I still have so much to learn, but every single day I get to go into the classroom, I consider it a privilege to be a teacher and keep impacting and influencing this next generation.
From the Polytech School District, Polytech High School social studies teacher Cameron Sweeney. The affection students, family, and staff have for Mr. Sweeney is well warranted, said one colleague. Students are inspired and motivated by Mr. Sweeney to be the very best students they can be. Current students, former students, athletes, Nerd Club members, Honor Society students, and those by association are always asking to go visit with or pop in to see Mr. Sweeney, or as the students affectionately call him, Sween Dog, Sween Bean, or Swenosaurus Rex. The genuine interest and caring for students makes him one of the most popular teachers at the school among both students and parents, and make his room a safe place for students to land on a daily basis.
I look back to my high school where I found several instances of people who inspired me to reach for greater heights and inspired me to do greater things and learn more simply because they were teachers. I remember my 9th grade English teacher helping me to open up my heart to an opportunity to be creative in my writing. She gave me a lesson prompt that said, "Here, you're stepping through a door." And that was the only thing she gave us. She said we could write whatever we wanted after that. And I wrote passionately for 3 or 4 pages for a kid who hated ELA. My 10th grade social studies teacher teaching world history would use lesson plans where he would fake anger in a way to show how Stalin used to repress his people in his Soviet Russia. These kind of examples of teachers who used creativity and passion and purpose in their education inspired me to be a teacher. I became a social studies education major at University of Delaware in 2009, and I never looked back. I went on to graduate and started my career teaching in a GED program in East St. Louis. This program was meant to be the stepping stone that I would learn to see whether or not I really wanted to do this teaching thing. It was only a few short months, but in that time, I was able to meet kids who desperately wanted out of the poverty that they had lived in because, and this would only be done through the education that they attained at Vincent Gray Academy. After coming home from that, I realized this is what I want to do. This was what I was made for. Teaching is what my passion is. Watching kids overcome challenges and understand and learn new things became part of who I identify as Cameron Sweeney. Here I watch students every single day walk to their classes, these shop classes that they are so excited to be in, whether it's automotive technology, computer engineering and technology and drafting, or even industrial shops like carpentry and masonry. These students love what they do every day, and they passionately pursue that because they have an idea of what their future holds. That's what education is all about to me, and that's what I hope to do someday, is to help inspire kids to see what their future holds by pursuing the passions that they want.
From the Red Clay Consolidated School District, McKean High School English and English learner teacher, Kimberly Stock. One current student said Stock was instrumental in helping her adjust to McKean when she arrived 2 years ago. I came from the Dominican Republic, and at the time, I didn't know how to communicate with my teachers or even how to start a conversation with my classmates. I did not know if they were being mean or nice to me, and that was something that sometimes makes me feel down. But also it pushed me to be more confident and learn English faster. Miss Stock went to my ELL class one day, and at that moment I knew she was and is an amazing person. She does everything to make her students comfortable and happy in her class.
I grew up with a Caucasian family in Lincoln, Nebraska. And because of that opportunity, I was able to go to good schools. I was able to grow up in a stable environment. And those are all things that may possibly not have happened had I stayed in Korea. So one of the things that I got really good at is I got really good at being able to shuffle between different groups of people and different cultures. But I do have to say that when I was growing up, I never saw myself in education. That wasn't a thing. We didn't know back then that it was important for students to be able to see themselves in their classroom through their curriculum or even just what they see in the walls, their teachers, people on TV. And it wasn't until my 11th grade English class with Dr. Cunyard that she is the one who brought in more diverse literature. And she introduced us to a poet and writer, Maya Angelou. And it's the first time I had ever heard of her. But when I read her book, I realized, oh my gosh, I can relate to this just because of the perspective that she spoke about racism, she spoke about discrimination, and she spoke about trauma in ways that were so powerful and something that I could really relate to. And it was so important. And that's when I realized it was really important that what teachers do, what teachers teach, that really matters. When I started college, I knew I wanted to be an English teacher. I was lucky enough to receive scholarships in order to do that. And I have to tell you, some of those scholarships were designed to help students like me, ethnic minorities, who wanted to become teachers. And I think about the fact that I was given those opportunities and I was new to this country. And I think about my students who are largely English learners and were not born in this country, a lot of them. And they too also have to try to maneuver around different cultures with a new language. And it's very difficult for them. I just try to take a lot of the things that I learned about myself, and what I learned about what it was like to be different in a school, in a classroom, and I really try to apply that when I get to know my students and when I teach them. And although I cannot relate exactly to what they've gone through, I can relate to trauma, and I can relate to what it feels like to just be different.
From the Seaford School District, Blades Elementary Kindergarten immersion teacher Kathy Adams said one former colleague, "To me, an essential role of a teacher is to build relationships with students." Kathy puts her heart and soul into developing relationships with her students as well as their families. Learning the unique characteristics and interests of her students is of the utmost importance to her. Kathy takes time from her evenings and weekends to attend their sporting events, dance recitals, art exhibitions, and other special activities to show her students how much she cares about them. It is through these activities, notes home, phone calls, and in-person meetings that she also develops a connection to families. These relationships continue even after the school year ends and for the years to come. Kathy serves as a mentor to many of her students through their college years and even into adulthood.
Well, when I was in second grade, we had, one of my classmates had some physical challenges. And so everybody in the class just kind of pitched in to help. But I really did enjoy spending time with him. And when I got into middle school, I was able to volunteer in our OH program. And all throughout school, I was the kid that when the teachers were throwing away their teacher manuals, I wanted them. Now, my brother didn't love it because I made him play school with me all the time, but I knew I wanted to be a teacher from second grade on, and so when I went into college, it was a no-brainer. I was going to major in special education. Had lots of great experiences, did lots of camps with kids, and my student teaching was a phenomenal experience. I think one of my most memorable moments actually isn't just one, it's many. I have been teaching for 29 years, so I've had a lot of students come my way. But what I absolutely love is when they come back to see me. When I see them out in town, wherever I am, I love having those interactions. Some of my students now are state police officers, they are social workers, they are teachers, they are nurses, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them, and I love spending time with them still.
From the Smyrna School District, Smyrna Middle agricultural science teacher Holly Hufford. As a colleague, she continually challenges me to be a better person both in and out of the classroom, and is a wonderful example of someone who possesses a servant's heart, said another ag science educator whose child was also a student of Hufford. Holly's dedication to curriculum also provides students with a true hands-on experience as she often extends extensive professional development trainings, brings real-world experiences into the classroom, and encourages community businesses to offer educational opportunities for her students.
If I was asked to give advice to a group of new teachers just starting out their career, I think I would start with the word perseverance. Because when you start as a teacher, your career starts with having a lot of perseverance. Your first year teaching is probably going to be the most difficult of your entire career. And I know that that's frustrating to hear as a new teacher, but I feel like it's important to hear. My first year teaching was the most difficult of my life. I was so focused on trying to teach the content and the curriculum that I forgot about the kids. So new teachers out there, focus on the students first. Get to know them, learn their quirks, learn their personalities, learn who they are, and the curriculum will quickly follow. It will be so much easier to teach the curriculum to students that you know and that you trust. It will be an amazing experience. So get to know the kids, love them, teach them.
From the Sussex Technical School District, Sussex Tech High digital publishing and graphic design teacher Kelly Gerke. One former student said the retreat she found in Miss Gerke's class ultimately led her to a career as an ABA therapist. During my time as her student, a storm of mental health issues persisted in my head and induced immeasurable obstacles. Sitting in a classroom began to suffocate me. Yet slight sound of an air conditioner whirling or the neglectable flickering of a fluorescent light bulb provoking massive panic attacks. Speaking more than 5 words sometimes left me shaking and nauseous. Amidst these times, Miss Gerke's classroom was my refuge. She encouraged art as an avenue to peace. I would write, I would draw, and soon I found myself painting. I painted the stars, the northern lights, and the ocean, which was and still is my most soothing scene to create.
No matter how great of parents a kid can have, by the time they get to high school, their own parents are usually the last people that they want to take advice from. It is important for me to be a teacher because I am another adult in many of these kids' lives that they can turn to for advice and guide them in the right direction. When my sons were in high school and our communication wasn't great, I turned to their technical teacher and I voiced my concerns that we were having at home. He assured me that they were doing fine and he would keep an extra eye on them. They both adored him, and it gave me some peace knowing that they had another trusted adult figure in their life to advise them. That is what I strive to be for my students. It truly does take a village, and I think we are making a difference. I think that what all great teachers have in common is that they get to know their kids as individuals and not just as a class as a whole. Kids appreciate that you want to know who they are, and it is much easier to develop a mutual respect with them on an individual basis. I think most great teachers are just big kids themselves, and that is why they love to interact with classes. I think my favorite part of the year is right before the senior class graduates. I put up photos of them when they came to me as freshmen, and I have them pull out their very first design project and compare it to their senior projects. There are always a lot of tears of happiness for how much they have grown, laughter from how horrible they think their first projects were, and sadness because our family has grown up and will miss each other. Thanks to social media, I stay in touch with most of them so I can watch them grow into the amazing adults that they become.
And finally, from the Woodbridge School District, Woodbridge Middle agricultural teacher Jessica Leone. Miss Leone has truly made a difference in our community because she takes time to build relationships with the students, families, and community members. Miss Leone has taken the time and effort to build strong and everlasting relationships with her students that last even after they graduate, said an agriculture teacher from another district who credits Leone for inspiring her to enter the profession.
I decided to become an agriculture teacher kind of by chance. I grew up from northern New Jersey, so agriculture was not something that was a part of our curriculum. But I did have an environmental science class as an elective science class my senior year. I loved my teacher. She was the cutest lady who loved everything about nature, and it just sparked this sort of excitement, and I wanted to be like her. We would go outside and plant flowers. We would take care of the ducks in our little ecosystem. We would take trips and go down the Delaware River and tubing. And it was amazing. I was like, this is what I love to do. So when I went to college, I actually decided to become a wildlife conservation major. And I didn't want to do the field work, and I didn't want to do the data collecting. And a friend of mine said, hey, there's this agriculture education. It's just some extra teaching classes. I think you'd be great at it. So I said, sure, like I can go ahead and take some teaching classes. And that's when I realized that I can become an environmental science teacher. But with that, I had to be an FFA advisor. And I did not know what that was because that's just not what I grew up with. But I ended up falling in love with it. And I have this sense of competitiveness that I have that I give to my students. So with that and my love of environmental science that I was able to have when I was in high school, I kind of transfer that when I was student teaching. When I finished student teaching, I was a long-term sub for another agriculture teacher, and it was in middle school, and that's where I knew this is where I need to be. I need to be a middle school teacher. I love the age group. I love they're like little sponges, and they just want to absorb everything, and I wouldn't change it for the world. This is where I'm meant to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored tonight to celebrate these outstanding educators. Congratulations to all 20 teachers, and thank you for the differences each and every one of you are making in your classrooms, schools, and communities.
Our 20 Teachers of the Year have influenced their students in profound ways, some that are obvious and some that are not yet so. These District and Charter Teachers of the Year are the teachers we're celebrating tonight. Together, all of us who are watching honor them for representing our profession and the best qualities of teachings. Congratulations to all. In this night of excitement, we traditionally thank our reigning Teacher of the Year. Rebecca Vitelli has been Delaware's Teacher of the Year for the past 12 months, and tonight she relinquishes her title to one of our 20 candidates. She has truly represented us well. It is my honor to introduce to you one last time our current Delaware Teacher of the Year from the Colonial School District, Rebecca Vitelli.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me be a part of your celebrations tonight. Though we aren't able to be together in the traditional way, tonight is still all about each and every one of our honorees for the 2021 Delaware Teacher of the Year. We could not be more proud and excited for you. It's an absolute privilege to address you a year after the life-altering moment when I was announced the 2020 Delaware Teacher of the Year. I'm Rebecca Vitelli, an inclusive preschool teacher at the Colonial Early Education Program in the Colonial School District. As I said when I was selected, one thing we really focus on in early education is modeling big feelings and how to handle them. So again, I'll do my best tonight as I deliver this speech because reflecting on my experiences fills me with a lot of big emotions. There was nothing typical about 2020. Just as I felt my duties and honors picking up steam, it seemed to come to a grinding halt as COVID abruptly altered many plans envisioned for the year. But it was still a tremendously impactful year, a year of many firsts, numerous lessons learned, and of imperative service. Being Delaware's Teacher of the Year has been a constant source of pride for my family, in particular both my parents who are educators themselves. It shined the light on my school, students, and families, and it also gave me a greater responsibility to uplift all children and represent educators across our state. It's been a year that's changed the way I will lead and teach for the rest of my career, and I believe a year that's revolutionized our profession, our schools, and our communities. My message celebrates our youngest learners and those who cannot yet advocate for themselves. And with our youngest learners, we emphasize the importance of greetings and goodbyes. Research shows us that children specifically remember these, but the same is true with adults. So as my year comes to a close, I present my 3-2-1 exit ticket. I begin with 3 highlights from my year among the many unforgettable moments. First, there was the surreal experience of traveling to California to represent Delaware at the National Teacher of the Year induction. There, on Google campuses, I met with educators from across the country who have similar visions and unwavering passion and commitment to teaching students. I felt empowered when I returned to Delaware. Second, a week later and right before the pandemic shut down, I attended the National Association for the Education of Young Children Public Policy Forum in Washington, D.C., where I toured the Congress Child Care Center and went to the Capitol Hill to speak with state legislators from the House and Senate about the importance and current standing of early childhood education in Delaware. This opened the door for future conversations with legislator staff regarding child care and preschool concerns during the COVID-19 pandemic. And third, I was invited to meet with former Vice President Biden at my school in Newcastle, where he presented his platform for mobilizing a 21st century care and early childhood education workforce. Hearing his passionate words of support for the profession in the space where I actually do the work was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Now, with all that has happened in 2020, here's 2 lessons I've learned. Foremost, teachers are extraordinary people because the work we are doing right now could not be done by the ordinary. Educators across our state and nation have gone above and beyond, working longer hours, continuing to rise to the challenge and show up in whatever type of setting with a smile on their face. I've never been more proud to be a teacher and to represent such amazingly creative and resilient individuals, transforming the world of education into something more meaningful than ever before. Second, it's evident that strong connections must be at the forefront of what we do. 2020 has truly shown that high-quality education involves the entire community. It takes our collaboration and many different resources, supports, and individuals to ensure that children thrive. During these uncertain times, let us continue to teach and lead with empathy and unity. And perhaps most importantly, give ourselves the same love and consideration we are giving to others. Take some deep breaths as we model what it means to be human, to not have all the answers, to struggle, to make mistakes, and to persevere. So here comes my one piece of advice. Advocate for the change you want to see. Educator voice has never been more essential, and we have so much work to do, not only regarding education and emotional well-being during a pandemic, but also speaking out for equity and elimination of systemic racial injustice. Take ownership of the profession. You are a leader, a champion for a better future. Share your knowledge, expertise, and ideas. Empower your students, families, and colleagues. They need you. Our profession needs you. The world needs teachers. To all the 2021 Delaware District's Teachers of the Year, what an incredibly dynamic and talented group of people you are. Thank you for your service, your passion, and for continuing to inspire me, your students and families, and all individuals around you. You each make the world a better place. Never underestimate your impact. And to the 2021 Delaware Teacher of the Year, my heart is bursting for you. I cannot wait to follow your adventures. Your upcoming year will be challenging, transformative, exhausting, and rewarding. Embrace every moment and document it. Follow your heart and your passion. I know without a doubt you will, to quote Hamilton, blow us all away and make us so very proud. I'm so thankful for my incredible journey. Voya Financial, CCSSO, Secretary Bunting, Governor Carney, Allison, and the entire Delaware Department of Education, thank you for the many opportunities you have given me and for all your support. To my family, fellow teachers, colleagues, and friends, I cannot thank you enough for everything as well. Your love and support made it all possible. This year was messy, and there was disruption, but it was tremendously meaningful, and I wouldn't change my experience for the world. I am honored to be the 2020 Delaware Teacher of the Year, and I can promise you that this is just me getting started. My final words are going to be a wish for all. In preschool, I teach my students to wish well, because whether we're together or apart, know we are always in each other's hearts. And I think the world could use a whole lot of wishing well right now. So to all those watching this very special event tonight, from my heart to yours, I wish you well, and may we never forget that our worth depends on seeing the worth in others. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. We are so proud of you and how you have represented Delaware during such an unprecedented year. And now it is almost time for us to find out who will be our 2021 Delaware Teacher of the Year. Each year we bring together a committee representing teachers, administrators, parents, and students who review a group of dedicated teachers searching for the person who has the skills, commitment, and passion that each of us saw in that incredible teacher that we remember so well. The teacher they choose must exemplify that dedication, talent, caring, and energy. Due to COVID-19, we had to adapt our program slightly this year, replacing our classroom observations with panel interviews. I'd like to give a special thanks to our interviewers, application readers, and judges for their conscientious and enthusiastic contributions to the selection process. Their names are listed on this slide. To honor all of our 20 nominees, each one will receive a cash grant of $2,000. The person selected as State Teacher of the Year later this evening will receive an additional cash grant of $3,000 plus $5,000 to be used for the educational benefit of his or her students. There are several representatives of organizations, businesses, agencies, college, and schools who have shared gifts for our next State Teacher of the Year. A special thank you to Jostens for its donation of a Teacher of the Year ring, and to Advantech, our deepest gratitude for your gifts for all 20 of our nominees. This slide shows a list of all of our gift bearers. We sincerely appreciate your generous support of our teachers.
Daughters and my in-laws here tonight and supported me no matter what. I love you more than I can express. I want to thank everybody at Red Clay and McCain School Board members, Superintendent Green, District Administration, my administration team, McCain staff and faculty, and of course my students who have supported me and believed in me even when I did not believe in myself. Many of you have helped me with my application, and without you, this would not have been possible. I want to thank my friends and colleagues here tonight from the Claymont Community Center. Sorry. Oh, God, this is terrible. Okay. Thank you for teaching me how to be better. Thank you to my special friends and family in Nebraska. Special thanks to my brother Andy and Lorraine. I come from a family of teachers and nurses because my parents have always taught us about the gift of service. My family was my first teacher in what it meant to love and accept those who do not look like you, and the importance of listening, disagreeing, and loving each other anyways. We can all learn something from the Stock family. Thank you to the past teachers. As both a child and as an adult, thank you for teaching me that I mattered and that I too could be a champion. Your lessons continue in how I teach my own students today. And of course, thank you to Allison May and everyone at the Department of Education and Secretary Bunting who have pulled off what seemed like the impossible. And to my fellow Delaware District Teachers of the Year, thank you for your encouragement and for your support, even though most of us haven't met yet. Together, we will use our voices and position this year on behalf of all of our fellow teachers and students. This is your victory. And to everyone listening tonight, please know that teachers and students need your help, support, grace, and prayers. This has been a difficult year marked with loss, and it's been unprecedented. But you have 20 Delaware District Teachers of the Year to help provide perspective on our schools, educators, and students, since we are the ones with our boots on the ground. And to Our English learner teachers and English learner students, rest assured that you and your students matter. And this year, every educator and decision maker in Delaware will understand why our ELs deserve equitable funding and every opportunity out there. And to our students, the time has come where the tables have turned, and we are asking you to be leaders because, quite frankly, you do so many things better than us adults. We need your help in creating better schools that truly value each person, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion practice or not practiced, age or immigration status. Students, you need to learn about those who look like you, and you deserve to see yourself represented in what you learn and on the walls of where you learn. Use your voice and tell us what you want and need. We value you, and we vow to do better because you are worth it. And to my students last year, who, when I won the McCain Teacher of the Year, asked me, is this like the Miss America pageant? No, my students, it is not like Miss America. It is so much better because I get to teach you. I'm so greatly humbled. Thank you so much. This is a big deal for a girl from Nebraska. Thank you.
We would like to congratulate all the other 19 Teachers of the Year throughout the district, throughout the state. They have contributed to much, but we want to give a special thank you and congratulations to Kim Stock. And I think that speech tells us why she is the winner. I thank you all across the state for joining in either watching or being a part of our watch parties. I thank you for being a part of this great event. I wish you well. I want you to stay safe and healthy. And congratulations again, Kim. Good night to you all. Thank you.